Seems like I'm not the only one who didn't enjoy the biker gang. Welcome back to the Old Head Reviews channel, and as always, I'm your host, Joey Sparks. And today we're going to break down and give my opinion of episode 4 of the Book of Boba Fett. I'm Joey Sparks. That's 2 E's, no Y. You heard me. That's 2 E's, no Y. Yo, let's get into my opinion and breakdown of episode 4. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on all the content. Moving on to the breakdown. We start off back to the tank. In this flashback, we see Boba Fett leaving his camp, and we see him pull up to Jabba the Hutt's palace. We see a part of the Hutt palace that we've never seen before, which is like a hangar. And we see Boba scoping out that his ship is in there, but there's too many guards for him to get it. Shortly thereafter, he sees a bright flash in the sky, and we come to find out that that bright flash in the sky is what the Mandalorian used to blind Fennec Shand in their earlier encounter. So we automatically know we're going to be going over the events that made Fennec Shand and Boba Fett close. They re-show Boba Fett picking up Fennec Shand, takes her to a mod facility that kind of looks like a tattoo parlor. So she gets her stomach fixed up and mod with, electronic parts and what have you. Then, during the evening fire, Fennec Shand comes to, and Fennec Shand and Boba Fett have a conversation. In this conversation, Boba Fett tells Fennec Shand that he wants to offer her a chance to be his partner to create a crime lord family. Instead of being an errand boy bounty hunter and working for other people, he said, why don't you work for me, and then I'll cut you in on some of the profits and spoils. We kind of get to see them begin to solidify their partnership. He needs his ship to get out. Fennec Shand helps him scout out the area and finish retrieving his ship. During these events, I did notice that the same droid that gave jobs out to the old droids back in Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace, seems like they brought his character back right here, sounding just like he did. They remove his ship, and next he needs to get his armor. So they fly back to the Sarlacc pit, being that Boba Fett doesn't remember getting robbed of his armor after he got out. So of course his ship is a unique shape and design, okay? So the top of Slave One, and I know they tried to change the name, I'm not doing it. The top of Slave One has the glass shield, and it flies upright. It has its guns on the bottom, and it has its front windshield right here. So it needed to kind of bend over down on top of the Sarlacc pit so he could see. And of course the Sarlacc grabs the ship and starts to pull him towards him. You see him try and use his blasters. It's the first time I've ever felt that those blasters placed on that ship, hands down, worst place to put blasters. Fennec Shand ends up hitting a button that drops a sonic bomb, and it ends up releasing them, and they get away. Boba Fett goes back into the belly of the beast, searching through the stomach acid for his Beskar, can't find it. We see a couple flashes of Boba Fett killing Bib Fortuna and taking the mantle, and then we come back out of the Bacta tank. As he finishes in the Bacta tank, the droid says, "You are now all healed." So I'm wondering, are we done with the flashbacks? I mean, we could still flash back to see how he gets his armor, per se, and connect that dots, and maybe how he meets up with the Mandalorian, but he'd have to get hurt in another fight for that to happen. So we'll stay tuned in so we can see what happens. We cut to Chrysantan in a bar, wallowing in his sorrows after getting whooped up on by Boba Fett. He sees a couple of, I think they're Trandoshans, or maybe I'm saying that wrong, Bosk. Whatever species Bosk is, the old bounty hunter that appeared alongside Boba Fett in the original trilogy. Now, I found out there's some backstory that the planet of Kashyyyk got invaded by these Trandoshans. And so that's why, while he was getting drunk, he was upset at them. And then he ends up pulling off his arm, just kind of like Han Solo alluded to back in A New Hope, the original Star Wars movie. After he rips off the arm, Boba Fett steps in and offers him a job, which I think is dope because I guess in the comics, they work together. And I think now that after their fight, like I said in last week's breakdown, that now they're going to work together. Another member of his crew. Now they got a Wookiee. His crew is gaining steam, right? After that, we cut to a meeting between Boba Fett and the other heads of the families in the planet. And Boba says he doesn't want to take over and rule everything. He wants to keep business the way it is. He just wants a promise from the other bosses that they won't go at each other until the Pikes are removed. He wants their help in getting the Pikes off the planet, and then they can go back to business as per usual. So after the dinner, Boba Fett and Fennec Shan look over the balcony at the other families as they leave, and Boba mentions to Fennec Shan that they need some muscle. And here is probably the biggest Easter egg to look forward to that I found. I noticed that the theme music of The Mandalorian was playing. Not the normal Boba Fett music, but the Mandalorian music, foreshadowing that we're going to get an episode with Mando back in this series, and I cannot wait. Overall, like I said, this episode was going to be lower excitement level than the last one. Just because you got to go back down. I mean, episode 1, 2, 3, we kind of built all the way up. We need to bring it back down before we can go up again for the last, 3 to maybe 4. If they have 8 episodes, I'd be surprised, but 4 or 5 episodes. So ultimately, I'm going to have to give this episode a lower score. I'm not going to give it a lower score because they brought in things like motorbikes that don't fit in the surroundings. Nah, I'm going to just bring it down because it just didn't have as much action. And being that this is a weekly installment, I kind of needed just a little bit more action would have been great. I'm going to go ahead and give this episode a 6.5. It's probably more a 6, but the fanboy in me can't help but just say I like it. I know that we're setting up plot points for bigger payoffs later on, but if we're just judging this episode as a whole, but me as, someone who enjoys film and storytelling on that medium, I know we have to bring it down and create some setup so later on we can enjoy more action. And I cannot wait. That'll do it for this week's breakdown. Man, I appreciate all the support that you've given. If you enjoyed the content, please consider hitting that subscribe button down below. And other than that, I'll see you next week. Once again, this is Joey Sparks. That's 2 E's, no Y. You heard me. That's 2 E's, no Y for Old Head Reviews. And we're out. Thanks for watching. Dun, 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 dun.